So I heard about the story of Michael. Michael, this day, on this particular day, he was prompted to call a distant relative that he had not been in touch with for a long time. And he just kept discarding that prompting, like, oh, I'll call him later. I know how we usually do these things now. But the prompting was persistent. By the time he had that prompting, like the third time, he said, you know what, let me just call this man and get it out of the way. And so he eventually placed the call to him. Nothing much, just basic greetings and everything, like, oh, long time. Okay, how is everything? Blah, blah, blah. That was it. And in his mind, he was like, okay. So after everything, but he didn't really put much thought to that. He had obeyed the prompting. So now he was planning a concert, and the total cost to run this concert was 240,000 naira. He had saved 150,000 naira, meaning that he had 90,000 naira to go, right? He had been praying for provision for the concert and everything. And next thing, he heard a voice: sow this money to Mrs. XXX in your church. He said, it can't be now. It can't be that maybe this is the voice of the enemy. But he had been so familiar with that voice. He said he knew the voice too much. He knew that this was God speaking. He knew. And so that couldn't be the enemy. So on second thought, it was like, maybe this is a test. Like Abraham, when God asked him, go and kill your son, your only son, and everything. And it turned out to be a test. At the point he was supposed to kill him, God provided a ram. And he said, no, don't. Now I know how much you love me, how much you value me, how much you believe in me, and all of that. So Michael thought to himself that, okay, I'm going to have a repeat of that incident, as God knows and told me to do this concert, right? Eventually, it wasn't a test. It turned out that it wasn't a test at all. He was still waiting for a voice to say, oh, my son Michael, don't do that, I can see how much you love me. That voice never came. He never heard that voice. He eventually opened his bank app and transferred the funds. He was doing all of these things very slowly, just so that, in case God would just tell him he could hear easily. And eventually sent the 150,000 naira, everything he had saved up for the concert, to the woman. Not long after, the woman called him back. I was like, thank you so much. How did you know? I don't know, I got the details, where I called her, or whether he had the account details before. Remember, the woman is in his church. So anyway, Sha called him, and then she was thanking him. She just kept repeating. She was overwhelmed with joy, and she was surprised, like, why did you do this? Why did you do this? Then when she finally got herself together, she told him that, do you know that this is the exact amount that I needed for my son's school fees, that they had threatened to send him out of school upper week, and I've just been praying, and today I was led to just dance and celebrate and just give God thanks, knowing that he has done it, that whatever he has started, he has completed. And I did that. Not up to 5 minutes after, I get an alert from you sending me exactly the amount needed for the school fees. Michael was like, what? Over the phone. She was thanking God, she was thanking him profusely, and then blah blah blah. That's how the call ended. Now Michael was like, because he knew that this woman was financially stable. On a normal day, she there are people that don't look like they need anything, and they don't even act like they need anything. They won't beg, they would. So she was in that category. She was even okay. Not that she was even looking or asking, she was actually okay. So when that prompting came to send the money to her, it was like, that was part of the things he doubted, like, what is going on here? But this woman is okay now. If you had told me to give it to a poor person now, I would have said okay. But we go through different seasons in our life, and that season she needed financial help. Now he had sown the money. He had nothing, nothing to run the concert. He just said, you know what, I'm just going to keep praying. I'm in God's hands. I'll pray so that miracles can happen. 2 weeks, was it 2 weeks to the concert or so? I can't remember. Was it 1 week or so? Either a week or 2 weeks, he had been bombarded with a lot of calls from the people partnering with him to organize the concert, because we are about money. When are we going to pay for this? We need to pay for this, and blah blah blah. He just stayed in the place of prayers. Sometimes it was even like, be God, call me to this thing, because if there's no provision, it means that maybe God is not here anymore. Maybe he's not saying I should go ahead with the concert anymore. He just started, sometimes thoughts would come up in his mind and all, but he couldn't explain why there was this faith. He couldn't explain why there was this nudge to go ahead with the concert. He knew that the idea to host a concert came from God, so he was like, I'm not going to give up now. And he just stayed he stayed through the trials. Now that cousin, that distant relative that he had called, his uncle, called him a week or so to the concert. So the uncle told Michael that he was looking for a bass guitarist for a friend's event, and Michael was like, what else am I here for? I'm here now, I'm ready to do it. And the uncle was like, Michael, are you willing to do this stuff? Are you free? Michael was like, I'm very free. The event was even supposed to happen a month after the concert, a whole month after the concert. So he was like, what else am I here for if it's not to play bass guitar? And so he told him the pay was about, I think, 100,000 naira. Yes, 100,000 naira. And it was going to be fully paid because his uncle was the one sponsoring that aspect of his friend's event. So it was going to be fully paid. As soon as Michael sent his account details, 100,000 naira alert entered. Come and see rejoicing. He was happy, he was joyous, he was thanking God. And so immediately he just reached out to a couple of his partners and his colleagues planning the program. And then he sent that one, he distributed the fund so that it would cover the most pressing needs. Now he had 140,000 naira to go, right? So 2 days to the event, one of Michael's friends, his name was Tayo, posted the flyer of the program, of the concert, online. A friend of Tayo, Richie, saw the flyer and he was like, tell me more about this stuff. Tayo told him, I was like, I like programs like this, so I would like to support. And then he got Michael's account details. Guess how much he sent? 80,000 naira. Just like that. From nowhere. A friend of a friend saw something and then he saw towards the program. That one too, he covered some expenses with it. Now the only expense they had, the major expense they had, was to rent sound. What's her name? Was it Adaora? She was the partner, or she was the volunteer in charge of sound, securing sound for the program. I almost thought, because money was not enough, by the time they had dealt all the major expenses, I think they had just 40,000 naira left, and then sound was supposed to be 100,000 naira, so they had a balance of 60,000 naira for the program. 2 days to the program, maybe a day, was it a day or 2 days to the program? Now she went to the sound company, hoping that if they deposit the 40,000 naira, they would find favor in their eyes and then pay after the concert. They didn't know how that was going to work, but they had prayed and they just said, we need sound now, at least let's try. There's no harm in trying. And so she went there. Now she was supposed to meet the boys in charge, like just discuss with them and everything, but on getting there, she saw the owner of the sound company. So the owner asked her for details about the program, normal protocol, where is the program holding, when do you need the sound and everything. By the time she told him the address at the time, he realized that this is the same address of his pastor friend. So he has a friend that is a pastor of a church, and that's the same church where the concert was going to be hosted. See life. Hi, it's Tiwa Show, and I'm all about productive living and helping you live fulfilling lives through scriptural strategies for growth. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'm offering you free value, information that will transform your mindset and help you live out the right habits. So yeah, subscribe to my channel, share, like, drop a comment if this was insightful for you, and if you would like me to drop more videos in this light. Ciao ciao.